Do you want to come up? Hey, bring Lindsay up too, because she's embarrassed, so we gotta bring her up. Bring her up.
You have to come too, Mama.
I hope you love this film. So a couple of things. I'm going to sort of ask Anita and the crew some questions, but just to give you my 2 cents on the film, you know, I hope you see how hard it is to run a restaurant and to do this for so many years, and that she did this for 17 years and Anita is ridiculous. And I think that what I love about this film is that it's about women, but it's just about a profile of a number of great chefs who are doing amazing things. So one of the things that I want to start with, whenever we talk about these things, there's like the abstract and then there's the specific. And like when I'm up here, I don't speak for all men, and I don't think you speak for all women, and we don't speak for all people of color. So like, as we do this and we ask questions, I'm much more curious in the personal experience and in the personal opinions. We're not going to solve the world tonight, but I want to get everyone's opinion here, and I hope you guys have questions, because there's a lot about this film that I think is brilliant. So first of all, for Anita, for Anita, one of the things sorry, same thing. You know, the one thing that I noticed in this film, watching the chefs at work, is all of the kitchens that you guys work in were way more diverse than the kitchens that I grew up in. And you know, just seeing all the people that work for you, there's a lot more women in your kitchens. And for you, as the head of your kitchen, was that something that was intentional? Was it conscious? Or did you just get more women apply for your jobs? How did you find the people to work for you over the years? And did you make a conscious decision to make your kitchens more diverse?
You know, Anita was always about diversity. I think even from the food standpoint, our first review, I was very proud of. We had, I don't remember who, maybe it was Frank Bruni. In any case, he commented on our clientele and how diverse they were and how you couldn't put them into a box. And yeah, so that's what it has always been about. As far as the kitchen is concerned, in the very beginning, it wasn't that diverse, because we didn't have a name for ourselves, and we had less of a name for ourselves, and you know, 95% of the applicants were white males, and that's, you know, that's pretty much what fine dining was made of back in those days. But as I made a name for myself, I started to attract younger cooks that were looking for a role model. And so there were women that were coming, there were people of color, there were you know, gay people coming to work at Anita. So that was how it became diverse. It wasn't because we were actively looking. I mean, we were looking for that, but it wasn't. You know, you can't really hire that way. You hire because on merit. You hire because these are people that can cook and that love food and want to give back and are happy to work as a team.
One of the things that Amanda spoke about, and it's something that we've been dealing with a lot in the food world, is the media and who writes about what chefs, right? There's a very small number of food writers that basically, you know, have thousands of chefs amongst that they can choose to interview and feature in their articles. And I think one of the big things that Amanda was very outspoken about, and I think all of you guys are, is that there's so many pages in a magazine, there's just so many pages in a newspaper, and the media has been dominated by male chefs. how do we change that? How does that affect public perception? And I think one of the things that I'm always curious about is that, you know, the food media world is actually very diverse. And there are many women writers who are in food media. Why don't they write about more women?
You know, I think that's a complicated question. I think as children we are all raised, whether it is, I think we're just raised to promote man at some level. So I think there's some sort of natural inclination that people have to look to men as, you know, as the people that we're going to promote and that should be in the spotlight. Yeah, and some women, you know, even I don't think women are even raised to want to be in the spotlight. So yeah, for me it was something that was unnatural, something I had to learn how to do. So I think you know, a lot of these writers, they're not necessarily doing it out of being mean, but I think they might gravitate to what has been written about before and who has been written about. You know, it's the Tom Colicchios of the world. It's the, you know, it's only a select few, and I think it's something that just keeps on repeating. Yeah, but I think how do you change that? You speak out. I mean, you do what Amanda's doing. I think, you know, if someone's asked me for an article, they want me to comment on some, you know, chef, and there's no reason why it can't be like a minority chef. You know, you have to say something to that person who's interviewing you.
Final question for you, Anita. Do you have a, you know, and again, this is a big question, but is there a blueprint or a vision for the future of the restaurant industry in New York or beyond, as it pertains to diversity and equality? Sorry, this is a big one.
I certainly don't think there's a blueprint. I think people are working on it right now. There are, you know, because of this whole Me Too movement, which has hit our industry particularly hard. We have all sorts of coalitions happening. People are meeting right now trying to figure out how we can change this. Change comes slowly, and it really takes a village. So it takes all of you deciding to choose the better restaurants, you know, the restaurants that are run by people who care about diversity, who care about their employees, that are good to their employees. You want to go choose those restaurants over the other restaurants that are run by minorities. Yeah, it takes a village. It takes, you know, it takes work from within the industry, and it takes work in the media. It takes work everywhere. So, yeah, I think, you know, I hope everyone can help us there.
So, bottom line, if you're in New York, maybe don't eat a spotted pig. Anyway, I want to introduce Lindsay Sasek. I got that right this time. Thank you. So we started this Lee initiative a year ago, but it's really Lindsay's, it's her thing. So I want her to explain it a little bit, and then she's going to introduce two of our shining stars, Jen Rock and Oka Lai. And Jen Rock's recently been in Bonap for the whole thing, so it's a really cool article. But take it away, Lindsay, and take us home.
Okay. So, as everyone knows, the Me Too movement did really hit our industry very hard. Also, I'm a terrible public speaker, I'm sorry.
No, you're not, you're good.
So, we were kind of sitting around and thinking of different things that we could do and reflecting on what this was doing to our industry. Although it is a real problem in this industry, it didn't happen to be my experience. I don't work in a kitchen, but I am a general manager in a sommelier, which is a very male-dominated field. The thing that I think that was different for me is that I worked for a lot of really strong women. I had a lot of great mentors. When we were looking at something that we could do that was positive, something that we could do to help young chefs, mentorship seemed to be what we landed on. And this is Oka Lai and Jen Rock. They were the first class of mentees. There are also 3 others. 2 of them are back at the kitchen at Superior Bathhouse Cooking tonight. And 1 is back in Lexington.
My name is Jen Rock. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm the chef de cuisine for a restaurant called Grail House, which is kind of an elevated southern comfort it's a bed and breakfast or a bed and beverage. It's a strong focus on beer and food and sleeping. Like 3 of everyone's favorite things. And this is Oka.
My name is Oka Lai, and up until recently, I was the sous chef at a restaurant in Corbin, Kentucky. It's in southeast Kentucky, called the Wrigley Tap Room and Eatery. It's a small spot, and we focus on farm-to-table food and really good beer. We're known in Kentucky for having one of the largest tap selections in one location. So we keep 24 taps on, and all of our food comes from local farms within a 20-minute radius. So yeah.
So let me ask you this. One of the things we did was we had like 300 applicants, and we selected 5 young chefs who were in the beginnings of their career, and to give them mentorship and confidence. And one of the things that we were looking for was not just great cooks, not great chefs, but people who we thought would become great leaders and activists. And I do truly believe that the next generation of restaurant and chefs will have to take into consideration activism and leadership, and it's not good enough just to have a great restaurant. We have to give back to the community. And so it was as important to have a true heart, a personality, leadership qualities, as well as being a great chef. And so the 5 mentees that we chose are very special people. So no pressure on you, but as we look to you to be the next generation of leaders, like, has this, and quickly, because we all want to get to the after party, but has this program helped you in that? And does it, does it give you anything to sort of, does it give you any confidence to become more than just cooks, but to become leaders, activists? And is that too big of a weight at this stage in your career? Or is it something that is positive?
So part of the reason that I am no longer at the Wrigley Tap Room is because through this initiative, I have gained the confidence and the connections to start my own project. And what I'm doing is I've just started the paperwork on a company called Amity Food Works. And what I'll be doing is I will be focusing on food rescue or gleaning in this eastern Kentucky region and opening a food pantry, but not your typical food pantry like you would think of it. It's going to be modeled after a restaurant. It's going to essentially be a restaurant, but focused on bringing better quality food to the local community and to those who are food insecure. So I think to answer your question, Chef, that it is not too big of a task. and it is something that we do need to think about. Food touches every aspect of our lives all the time, whether you realize it or not. If you're hosting a party, what you eat for lunch, it sets the tone for your day, and it sets the tone for events. And I mean, have you ever been to a party that doesn't have any food? It's awful. Like, where do you go when you don't know what else to do? You go to the food. Food is so important in our lives, and it is it's such a challenge for so many people without us realizing. And through this initiative, I've learned that I do have the skills, and I do have the support to maybe change this in my home. So, I don't know if that quite answers your question.
I think for me, working in my restaurant, starting out on the lower ranks of the brigade that you all learned about, it has allowed me to not only gain confidence from my mentorship with Jim Lewis in Portland, Oregon, but also to gain a certain respect in my own restaurant and in my own community, which I didn't foresee to be a particular outcome from this mentorship. It was a very selfish thing that I was doing when I applied for it. I wanted it, and I went after it, and I got it, but I didn't realize how it would affect my particular position with Grill House or my particular position as a chef in my own hometown. And so I think, to answer your question, it has been an invaluable experience, and I know for a fact that it will continue to be a valuable experience for every single person involved, whether they're partners with the initiative or they're leaders in the initiative or they're mentees. It is an all-around dynamic experience that will continue, I fully believe, that will ripple across the country. I just can't imagine this initiative not being successful everywhere.
Well, that's good, because guess what? You guys are the mentors for the next generation. But you guys are rock stars, and by the way, it's okay to be selfish. That's what we all do as chefs and as entrepreneurs. So thank you to Anita, Oka, Jen, Lindsay. Thank you to all of you for coming, and let's go to the after party.